Hey everybody, how we doing? Grandpa's Cabin Life. It is mid-November. Unfortunately, I'm closing up the cabin for the season. Typically, I don't do this until the end of December, once deer season's over. Uh, we're in an area where we do get a lot of snow, and it can be sometimes really difficult to get up here, especially with the long driveway and the access road. So typically, like I said, I'd leave it open till December. However, we've got holidays coming up, doing some traveling the beginning of December, and then I'm having spine surgery in mid-December. That's going to put me out for probably 2 months where I can't really lift, move, or carry anything significantly heavy. So, unfortunately, after 3 days of really uneventful bow hunting up here, we're going to close the cabin up early. Hate to do it. I was thinking about leaving the split unit on with the heat, and fingers crossed that the cabin didn't freeze up. But really thinking about it, we do lose power quite a bit during the winter, especially if we have a bad winter with heavy snow. So, yeah, I don't want to risk anything freezing. Although everything here is PEX, which does give you a little bit more leeway with freezing than copper pipes do. But yeah, so we're going to close the cabin up. The way we do it, or the way I do it, I've only done it one other time, so this is the second season. It's fairly straightforward. Lancaster log cabins, the way they design these cabins is all the plumbing coming into the cabin and all the plumbing going out of the cabin are in one corner of the cabin, so everything is easily located and easy to address. The big thing is I have to drain the hot water tank that is under the sink. That's pretty easy. I shut off the feed to it and then just drain out the hot water by running the faucet, and then the last thing I do is I hook up a hose and just get whatever is at the very bottom of the hot water tank and drain that out. So we're going to be doing that. Normally I just shut off the power entirely to the cabin. This year I have to figure out how to leave the power on in the loft area, since the Wi-Fi SIM card that I have up here needs power to run, and I do have the one surveillance camera up here, the GeoLink, that requires that Wi-Fi connection to send signals and allow me to look at the property and also get alerts if anybody comes onto the property. That really hasn't been an issue here, and there is a lock gate. So yeah, kind of a sad day, mixed emotions doing it. Again, hate to know that I can't come back up here until the spring, which then the big project is going to be I want to get the wildflowers set and going. So I did get a plug-in, what are they called? The things to mix up, stir up the soil and dig up the grounds. That makes the seeds take a little bit better. The name is escaping me. But anyway, so that's one of the big plans for the spring. We did have a pretty good showing of wildflowers, not as good as I would like. And then I also want to open up the area where the apple trees are, and maybe get some wildflowers planted in there. And I also want to get a couple more apple trees in place. So those are projects for the spring. Hopefully with the surgery mid-December, I should be good to go for projects up here in April, and then also for opening of trout season. So yeah, we're hoping to be good to go for that. Yeah, so I'll do some additions to this video as I am going about the process. I do blow the lines out, although there's just the two sinks and the shower. So there's really not a lot not to do, which is the other thing that makes it pretty easy to winterize the place. Did have to pack everything up, so strip the beds, take those home to get the wash done. I do have to empty out both the refrigerator and the freezer because obviously the power is going to be off to that. So that's a little bit of a project, but not really any big deal. Anything that could potentially freeze and rupture, I have gathered up. So all my water bottles and the chicken broth and the other things that are in the cabinet. I even cleaned out some of the canned goods just to make sure that I don't have an issue. The last thing I want to do is come up here in the spring and have a hot mess going on in the cabinets because something burst. So yeah, bit of a sad day, but it is what it is. Got to get it done, and we'll be back up here in the spring. I will be posting videos throughout update you on the surgery and things like that. But we got several weeks before that happens. So yeah, we'll add some more to this Grandpa's Cabin Life. This will be up on YouTube and Instagram. So yeah, take care, guys. Okay, so this is the main electric panel for the cabin. That's our meter. I did take a picture of that so that I have that number for NYSEG. Should it come up, although they finally started to have their guys actually come up to the property and read it. So you can see all these are labeled. What we are going to do is shut everything off except for, easier if I have the camera on it, this one, which is the bedroom loft. That is where the Wi-Fi setup with the cell phone SIM card is, and that needs to stay powered. So that's going to stay on so that we have security cameras on the property. Everything else will get shut down. So again, that's why we got to clean everything out. I'm going to go in and start to drain the hot water tank now by shutting off the water flow intake to it, and then we'll drain that. And when we do shut off, these are actually the well pump. When we do shut this off, what happens is that all the water that's currently in the piping system will drain back down into the well, so we don't have to worry about anything in the lines freezing. So that'll happen in the next couple of minutes once I pack everything up into the truck, and we are otherwise good to go. Some of the other things we did, we swapped out all the battery packs on all the trail cameras that we also have up on the property for security, so those are good for the winter till I get back up here in the spring. Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward process. So we're going to go inside. I'll show you underneath the sink and what we do with the hot water heater. Well, keep in mind, this is only the second season I'm doing it, so I am still figuring it out. So if you've done this before, and especially with a Lancaster log cabin, and you have some better input for me, by all means, please let me know in the comments. Certainly any help or additional info would be greatly appreciated. Right. So really the hardest part of this whole process is draining of the hot water tank. So what we did was, under the sink, we shut off the water flow into the tank. We then ran the shower and the faucets to drain out all of the hot water from the system. And then for good measure, we opened the relief valve at the very bottom of the tank and drained that out as well. So tank's empty. The power shut off to the unit. So that's it for this. We're going to close back up that valve. You can see it's just a little bit, not much in the way of anything sediment-wise at the bottom, so that's good. We're going to shut this valve off, and we are now going to shut off the water pump, which will shut off the water, allow the system to drain, and then what we'll do is we'll drain all the water out of the lines, and then I'll show you the next step in a bit. So again, no water coming into the cabin, so we did the last flush. We're going to dry up the rest of the water in the toilet tank, and then the last step we do for the bowl, and actually for each of the traps in the sinks, we'll add some antifreeze, just to keep us out of trouble over the winter. So the next thing we did, the power is now shut off to the well pump. So you can hear that little gurgly. That's just air now coming out of the system. There is no water flow, hot or cold. Water shut off. And what we are gonna do next is we're gonna get the air pump from the storage shed. We're going to open up all the faucets, and we're just going to shoot a little high pressure into the water line from the outside hose spigot, just to push whatever residual water in the lines out. And we'll go from there. All right, almost done. Like I said, Lancaster Log Cabins makes winterization fairly straightforward and simple, which is a huge plus. So yeah, we'll show you the next step in a minute. All right, so we're back at the panel. We did figure out Initially, we had this shut off. Again, we wanted to leave power to the loft. I just wrote this because after fiddling with the panel, this is the actual breaker for the bathroom that controls the light and the fan. And this is the breaker for the loft. So with this breaker on, there is power to my SIM card and Wi-Fi unit, which means the security camera will continue to work. Little spider, gonna get rid of that. But everything else, as you could see, is shut off. So there'll be virtually no electricity used this winter, with the exception of the plug for the Wi-Fi unit. The other nice thing about winterization is the water shutoff valve is there underneath. There's an access panel. I don't even have to go in there. Once I shut power off, the system itself just drains back out into the well. I don't even have to worry about shutting the intake off. So we're good with that. Plus with the power off, the heat tape's off as well, obviously. So yeah, next step is we're just going to blow out the lines really quick. You could probably get away without doing it, especially, like I said, we have PEX, which holds up pretty well, and the lines have been drained, and it does flow back, a lot of the water back into the well. So we'll do that next step, do the quick blowout of the lines, and then we're done. All right. All right, so just a little side note. Again, the power company up here is really good about sending text alerts if there's a power outage and when power is restored. But this was a little trick, courtesy of my wife, that she saw on the internet. So you basically take a cup, fill it with water, freeze it, put a coin of your choosing on top, and this serves, and it goes in the freezer. So this serves as a guide if the power goes out, how long that power was out. If the quarter is still sitting at the top, power wasn't out for very long, stuff in your freezer is probably still good. If the quarter is all the way at the bottom of the cup, that means that the power was out for a significant period of time, which also means that the food in the freezer probably was thawed because of that duration. So it's a very cheap and easy way to know how long your power was out and whether the food in your freezer is now a little bit sketchy and it's probably be tossed. So yeah, just a little helpful fun fact. Coin and a cup of frozen water. Alrighty.